We're pretty spoiled for choice when it comes to accessing video games. Between the big three consoles, digital storefronts like Epic and Steam, and the rise of streaming services such as Google Stadia and Amazon's Luna, you can access a game pretty much anywhere you want these days. But what happens when a game license expires or a dwindling audience makes it too costly to maintain servers? In many cases, this leads to digital copies of the games being pulled from the services we mentioned earlier and relegated to the history books. Welcome back to Game Gentlemen. In this video we look at 10 great games that you can no longer buy. Before we get started, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Number 10. Deadpool. The first of many games on this list which have disappeared due to a licensing issue, Deadpool saw you take control of the Merc with the Mouth, voiced by Nolan North, as he teamed up with heroes like Wolverine, Psylocke, Rogue, and Cable to stop Mr. Sinister. Deadpool was not a particularly good game, with most reviewers criticising the game's repetitive gameplay and poor combat, but the game's humour and Nolan North's voice performance were praised for capturing the essence of the character, with frequent fourth wall breaks and one-liners. Unfortunately for Deadpool, Activision's rights to use Marvel properties expired in 2014, and the game was delisted from all digital storefronts just 6 months after its release. The two parties would reach a brief agreement in 2015, re-releasing the game on current-gen consoles to coincide with the upcoming Deadpool movie. However, this agreement would also expire, with the game again leaving digital storefronts in 2017. Number 9. Activision Spider-Man titles. Another victim of Activision's Marvel license expiring was Spider-Man. Activision actually held the rights to make Spider-Man games from the year 2000, with the original Spider-Man for the PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, N64, and PC. However, the older games were on platforms which didn't have a digital storefront, so we're focusing on 4 Spider-Man titles: Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, and the movie tie-ins The Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I suppose that we should be thankful in some regards that Activision wasn't able to hold the rights to the Spider-Man franchise, as if they did, we would likely never have gotten the excellent Insomniac game Spider-Man or its upcoming standalone expansion, Miles Morales. Number 8. Marvel vs. Capcom Origins. Activision would not be the only publisher to fall victim to an expiring license with Marvel. The same year that Deadpool would leave digital storefronts, Capcom's crossover fighting series Marvel vs. Capcom would also see its last release with Marvel vs. Capcom Origins. Origins was actually a compilation of 2 Marvel games, Marvel Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of the Superheroes. Released digitally to PlayStation and Xbox in 2012, the game was a faithful port of the arcade versions and received mostly positive reviews. While Origins may have been the last Marvel vs. Capcom title, it certainly was not the only one to be purged from storefronts, with previous titles all being pulled in December 2013. Number 7. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. Based on the comic book series of the same name, Scott Pilgrim was a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up blending the art style of the comics with a retro pixelated aesthetic reminiscent of arcade and console titles of the 16-bit era. Up to 4 players can take control of the protagonists, Scott Pilgrim, Kim Pine, Stephen Stills, and Ramona Flowers to fight Ramona's 7 evil exes. Each character came with their own movesets and can uniquely summon Knives Chow as an assist. The game was widely praised for its gameplay and soundtrack, and much like its comic and movie counterparts, gained a cult following. Unfortunately for its fans, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, was pulled from all platforms in December of 2014. Whew. 2014 was a bad year for licensed video games. Fans of the game had reason to rejoice earlier this year when Ubisoft announced that the game was returning in the form of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Complete Edition. Number 6. Drive Club. Originally planned to be a PlayStation 4 launch title, Drive Club would endure several delays before finally releasing in October 2014. Drive Club's gameplay revolved around its club mechanics, where players could join or create a club of up to 6 people to complete challenges, earn XP, and raise the reputation of themselves and their club. Like many racing games, Drive Club was a technical and graphical showcase for its time, featuring real-world cars and locations, as well as dynamic weather events. Drive Club would see the adoption of a PlayStation Plus edition, free to subscribers, which included a selection of locations and vehicles across the game's story and online game modes, as well as a standalone bikes and VR expansion. While Sony announced the closure of Evolution Studios in 2016, Drive Club would live on for another 4 years, making it our most recently lost title on this list. Drive Club's servers were closed March this year, with the game, DLC, and all standalone expansions being removed from the PlayStation Store in August. Number 5. Tetris 1989. Tetris has been a staple of the Nintendo platform for over 3 decades, with the first iteration of the title appearing on the Game Boy in 1989. Since that first title, a version or variation of Tetris has appeared on every Nintendo console since, with a port of the original Game Boy title coming to Nintendo's Virtual Console in 2011. It's this version of the game which is no longer available to buy. Due to an agreement signed between the Tetris Company and Ubisoft in 2014, Nintendo was forced to remove the port and any other variations from the Virtual Console. Of course, if you do want to get your block stacking fix, there are plenty of modern ways to play Tetris, including Tetris Effect and Tetris 99. Number 4. Transformers Devastation, The Legend of Korra, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan. The following 3 titles are yet more victims of Activision losing licensing agreements. The common thread throughout each of these licensed titles is that they are all developed by Platinum Games. Taking them in order of their release, The Legend of Korra, Transformers, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were all hack-and-slash titles in Platinum's familiar playstyle. The titles have each received mixed reviews, with Transformers being the highlight of the bunch. Ninja Turtles was the first to be pulled from storefronts in January of 2017, with Transformers and Korra both being pulled in December of the same year. Number 3. Guitar Hero Live. After the decline of the rhythm-based music genre saw plastic instruments gather dust in cupboards, attics, and basements around the world, Activision thought they would try and revive the genre in 2015 with Guitar Hero Live. Activision decided they wouldn't do anything for that collection of plastic instruments destined for landfill, as they would change the 5-button formula for a new controller and new gameplay model, with 6 buttons representing up and down strokes across 3 fret positions. Guitar Hero Live also differed from its predecessors with its online component Guitar Hero TV, a live stream of 200 songs players could jump into at any time. If players didn't want to play what was on rotation, they could use in-game credits purchased for real money to play their songs on demand. Guitar Hero Live would continually build the Guitar Hero TV service, adding a library of over 480 songs across its 3-year lifetime, before a declining player base would see the service shut down in December of 2018. Number 2. PT. What would a list of games that you can no longer play be without PT? The playable teaser came out of an announcement at Gamescom 2014, and the short experience would leave a lasting impact on gamers and the industry, with modders breaking the game's barriers to uncover systems and AI behaviour, and budding developers remaking the game in Unreal Engine 4 and PlayStation's own Dreams. What we all know now, of course, is that PT was actually a teaser for a new Silent Hill game, helmed by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, and starring Norman Reedus. We would see one more trailer for the game before the very public and very messy breakup between Konami and Kojima, in which Konami took their toys and went home, but not before trying to scrub Kojima off the record. Konami would pull the game from the PlayStation Store, ensuring it would never see the light of day again, and the only way to play the game now is if you've kept it on your console this whole time, or if you're willing to look on eBay and pay as much as €700. Number 1. Evolve. PT could have easily topped this list, but as it's only a teaser of a game we never received, I'm demoting it to position 2, leaving the number 1 spot to Evolve. 2015's Evolve had so much potential and so much hype. In fact, I had the privilege of attending E3 2014, which featured a giant replica of Evolve's Goliath at the 2K booth. and the game would go on to win many Best of E3 awards and a heap of critical praise. Developed by Turtle Rock Studios, best known for their work on Left 4 Dead, Evolve was an asymmetrical multiplayer pitting 4 human characters against one giant monster. Human characters were split into 4 classes: Assault, Trapper, Support, and Medic, and were set with the objective of finding and destroying the monster. While the monsters came in 3 types in the base game, each with their own unique playstyle and the objective of fully evolving. Where Evolve would falter was in its extensive and frankly predatory DLC practices. Before the game had even released, a DLC roadmap was announced, which, if players wanted every single character and option which had been developed for the game, would set them back more than the game's original purchase price. And don't forget, this was a full price game at launch, not a free-to-play title like we might see now. After the game released, it would quickly see a shrinking player base, and 2K Games would shift the title to free-to-play on PC in July of 2016. Naming this new iteration of the game Evolve Stage 2, players who had paid full price were given founder status, which boiled down to nothing more than a few cosmetic items. Evolve Stage 2 would not last more than a few months, and Turtle Rock would announce that they were ending support for the game in October of the same year. While Evolve's dedicated servers would remain open for another 2 years, it was finally put out of its misery with servers shutting down in September 2018. It's a shame really. With the resurgence of asymmetrical multiplayer titles like Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight and Predator Hunting Grounds, you could almost say that Evolve was ahead of its time. And that's our list. If we're being technical, most of these games could still probably be bought on the second-hand market. You may need to fork out an extra couple of dollars for a rare second-hand copy and have an old console on hand, but they're definitely not representative of their final product. Tell us in the comments which of these games you wish you could still play, or if we missed any of your favourite games on this list. We're also going to take a look at purely online or MMO titles in another list down the road. This has been Game Gentleman, and thanks for watching.